Hello everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Our Community Access. This week we have 4 stories, and at the top of our list, Charlie the dog. We head over to Woodchips to see how they support the community, an ice rink update, and last but certainly not least, J.R. Lafnear joins us here in studio. All this and more coming up. First up, we head just across the lot to speak with Charlie and his owner. Take a look.
He loves to walk.
Even on snowy days like this, Charlie, the 10-year-old English setter, is on the move.
He'll walk. Today we'll probably get at least 5 miles in, so it'd be like broken up into two or three walks, but that's pretty much his life anymore, is walking.
Charlie suffered what doctors called a spinal stroke, forcing him to lose mobility in his 2 back legs. Now he gets around in his wheelchair, but owner Steve Pappas says not much has changed.
Before he went paralyzed, if the sun was out, he would run, and he would run probably 10-12 hours a day, chasing shadows, chasing birds. So they're a real high energy breed, so he can't sit still. I mean, there'd be anxiety, so he has to get out and have his exercise, which doesn't happen in the house. Because in the house he doesn't have his wheels, so he has to drag himself around. And so this is his only freedom, are these wheels.
Papa says his family never considered not having Charlie around.
When you take your pet to the vet, they make that option right out there right away, and that's kind of sad. But so we thought we'd try all the therapy and stuff, and there's a really good doctor up in Davison, Dr. Good, and she did the acupuncture. And then there was a facility in Waterford, and I cannot remember the name of it, but they have a hydrotherapy, which is a treadmill and a tank of water, and they get in there with Charlie and they'd work his back legs and he'd walk. It's fairly expensive, but it's definitely worth it, you know, because everyone says, oh, he's so lucky and so lucky, because a lot of people put their dogs down, but there are alternatives, you know, if you care about your pet. Just because whatever happens, a spinal injury, doesn't have to be the end of their life. You know, he still has a lot of good years left, hopefully. So a little bit more work now. You better be prepared for that.
He says some things they had to adapt to.
He is incontinent, so like in the house he has to wear his diaper and his wrap. Outside we take that off usually. But there's nothing, you know, for his number 2s. You just got to be willing to pick those up. So, because he has no control over that. Charlie, the minute we put his wheels on, he was gone. He took off running. So like I said, he blew up the first set, hit a snowbank, and they just shattered.
While Charlie loves his wheels, some dogs never become adjusted. For those dogs, Papa says there are other alternatives that can help.
They make, and you got to watch, because when he's not in these, like if he's outside, he'll drag himself, and like if he's on the cement, he'll drag right through the skin and tear it and be bleeding all over. He can't feel it, so he doesn't know what's going on. So they have drag bags, and you can put the whole back end in a bag, and then he can drag around in the drag bag. So we have a drag bag for the house. He drags himself around.
After Charlie shattered his first set of wheels, the kind neighbor who had made the first pair came back, this time with something more durable.
He later built an aluminum set, and we used those for a while, and then we found Gunner's wheels, and Gunner's wheels actually provided his first set of wheels, and then we since passed them on to another family and bought this set from Walking Wheels. So there is help out there if you have a handicapped dog.
Gunner's Wheels is a non-profit foundation that helps handicapped pets find wheels for families who can't afford them. Overall, Papa says Charlie is living the same happy life he was before. However, sidewalks like this make it a little harder to get around.
If they're not shoveled, it's a little hard for him to get around. When you get just the snowbanks on the side, then if his wheels don't fit through, it's a bit of a struggle for him, especially if it hasn't been shoveled and frozen and thawed, and it gets real hard. So, but as long as the sidewalks are shoveled, he can get around pretty good. If not, we go to the road.
Both Pappas and Charlie are grateful just to get around, but it does make it easier if residents remember to shovel their snow and put ice down. Reporting in Oxford, Alexis Ware, Oxford Community Television. Such a compelling story, and one that's also very heartwarming is the one over at Woodchips and how they support the community. Take a look.
You know, they say that the character and warmth of a community is made up of the people and businesses in it, and Oxford is no exception. 2020 has been a really rough year, and it's the character of the people and the businesses within this community that's gotten us all through 2020, and Patrick Hingst of Woodchips is no exception.
Hi, I'm Patrick Hingst. I am the founder and owner of Woodchips Barbecue and Woodchips Express. We first started here in Oxford almost 11 years ago. We opened December 9th, 2009, also during some very challenging times.
Hingst credits high-quality food to his continued growth in the community.
We were bringing really high-quality, scratch-made, passionately produced sandwiches in a unique way that nobody had ever seen before. So everybody's dealt with sandwiches, it's still very approachable, but we were just doing a spin on it that nobody in the community had ever done.
Hingst says it is his passion for quality and people that carries Woodchips through rough times.
Well, I've always been passionate about food. I was a larger kid growing up, so there was never a meal that I met that I didn't like. And just wanted to share that love of food with other people, but also do it presented in a fresher way.
Connections with employees is vital to the success and longevity of Woodchips in Oxford.
It's vitally important in this industry, especially where turnover rates are very high. Employees can be very transient, here 1 week, gone the next. Most restaurant workers measure their time with a company in weeks or months. We are blessed to have those that measure it in years, and it does create that family atmosphere. Going into a dinner rush is going into war. You're going into battle. You've got a lot to get through, but when you get through and you see your brothers and sisters on your side and you made it, and you're like, we made people's lives a little bit brighter just working so hard to put this out there. It is an exhilarating feeling that most people outside of the industry can't really wrap their heads around.
Patrick has made it a mission to help others in the community.
We knew early on when the initial lockdown hit. It's really easy to look at yourself, lick your wounds, and say, woe is me. It's harder to do that while simultaneously knowing that everybody else has wounds that need to be licked. Scratch that metaphor. But let's go with that there's people that needed an uplifting, helping hand. So we were there to answer that call quickly. We started donating immediately what we call our essential meals. They were individually wrapped and boxed separately. Meals for frontline workers, for the police departments, for the fire departments, and then eventually transitioned to focusing more on those that were facing financial strain as the length of the lockdown continued, and the unemployment struggles were well documented. So we were able to do a community day where in one day alone we gave away 500 free meals just to people that were financially struggling. We've been able to partner with Neighbors Helping Neighbors, which is an organization that early on almost faced shutdown as they lost their support during the initial lockdown. But because of some amazing people like Connie Miller and her team and just everybody else there, as demand soared, they figured out a way to meet it. So we were happy to join forces with them a few months back. We now provide over 400 meals every month to help them serve, and we've had discussions where by December or January we hope to double that and be at least 800 meals a month provided through them.
Carryouts have kept his staff working.
But we're mostly a carry-out concept. We offer the curbside. We do deliveries through some of the third-party apps, and we do have online ordering as well.
The change from witches to Woodchips with the same fresh philosophy with new options.
It hasn't had a huge effect on their staff, again, being a carry-out centric place, and also, us still in the first year of operations with all those challenges. We were below what my projections were. So there was no baseline. So it hasn't really had too much of an effect here, being a carry-out restaurant for the most part, having to operate as a carry-out restaurant. It is what it is. We'd like to have a few more smiling faces in here during lunch, but, we're going to do our best to do what we can.
Hingst credits high-quality food to continued growth in the community.
So we bring the same scratch-made philosophy. We had a lot of the same options on the Witches menu. We did actually have a lot of smoked meats and barbecue on there, hidden within, so we just doubled down our focus on that. The big option here is the customization. Our main entree is called the Custom Q. borrowing from the Chipotle style 1, 2, 3 ordering, where you can come in, create your own rice bowl, your own mac and cheese bowl, your own burrito, your own sandwich, pick the proteins you want on it and load it up with almost unlimited toppings. And everybody can make a unique flavor and do it at a really affordable price. So I think that is the most unique thing that we're bringing to the game. Of course, along with we were just named Best Ribs in Oxford. We have amazing ribs. We have fantastic wings, some of the best you're ever going to encounter. And know that every single item that you eat is scratch made and made with love. It's not taken out of, we don't have any freezers except for our ice cream. We don't have a microwave. We avoid processed products at all costs. And it's really just a labor of love, both from me and my team with every bite. So I think treating food with that level of respect is what people want to see more of these days. And I think we need to kind of break away from the chains that tend to serve more of the processed food that I think leads to lots of negative issues, including health struggles and as well as mental health issues, because food can affect you on every level. So we're proud here to serve really high quality food. We've got an amazing team that's going to do it with bright, smiling eyes, and we're just here to brighten your day and hopefully brighten your taste buds. Yeah, so we also own Cookies and Cream. It's a bake shop and ice cream store in downtown downtown Lapeer. But here in Oxford, we do have a little kiosk with it. So we have some of our different cookies, including our famous Superman cookie, which is really amazing. We still have our S'moreo cookie, which my mom invented for us back when she was my baker almost a decade ago. And then we do this famous stuff called Cookie Cream. So we're the only people doing this. It's a 50% blend of our homemade cookies with 50% Michigan-made ice cream. It's rich, it's decadent, it's chewable. It's like nothing else out there, and the community has just been really well received. So even then, having only opened that concept in August, the previous August, not having a whole lot of time, just about 5 months before that lockdown hit, we've been finding ways just to continue to thrive and to grow and to get innovative.
Hanks says it's his passion for quality and people that carry Woodchips through rough times.
Well, being a barbecue restaurant, there are times that we do sell out of stuff. Most of our meats take upwards of, ribs, you're at about 6 hours. Brisket, you're at, 12 to 14 hours. So it's not just like throw another one on the grill. But we do a pretty good job of estimating how much we're going to need on hand. For the most part, we can have carry-out orders ready within 10 to 30 minutes, depending on when you're calling and what you're ordering. Ways to order: woodchipsexpress.com. We've got ordering through our website. You're welcome to use the third-party delivery apps. We're partnered with DoorDash and Grubhub. You can call directly to the store. And even if you need contactless, we can take your payment information over the phone, take it outside, put it in your trunk. So if you don't want to see or touch us, you don't have to see or touch us, and you can still get some amazing barbecue.
And keeping things right here in the community, we're heading to the back of Seymour Lake Park to talk ice rink this winter. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Jeff Hines. I'm the Park Superintendent for Oxford Township Parks and Rec, and today we're out on our new skating rink. It's actually not new, it's been here a little over a year, and we've had weather issues. As you can see out here, we're looking at 35-degree temperatures today. It's hard to make ice. I know everybody's excited, wants to get out here. As you can see behind us, the sled hill is going. That's been going all year since we've had snow, so that's a good thing. Everybody's enjoying that. Again, we're just waiting for some cold weather, and it looks like by next Monday possibly we're going to start getting some temps that are going to stay below freezing. So that should help us out immensely, and once we get to that point, we will have ice out here this year. And then hopefully we'll get a couple months of good cold weather. We can keep the ice on it, and you guys can get out here and enjoy your skating. Originally, when we checked into building a skating rink, we checked into refrigeration so we could keep this frozen as long as we wanted. The cost just to do the refrigeration was $350,000, and the electrical bill per month would have been about $15,000. And we couldn't justify spending that kind of money on something so seasonable that's just for recreational purposes with no fees, no leagues, nothing like that. So that was a little bit absorbent, we thought, to drop on the taxpayers of Oxford, quite frankly. So due to the current conditions that we're all under in the state of Michigan, previously the year before, we had planned on doing a lot of outdoor activities with the sled hill, with the skating rink. We planned on doing some Christmas stuff. But with the shape we're in right now, we really can't plan any outdoor activities with any amount of people. So it's really kind of frustrating for us to not be able to do that for everybody, because that's what we enjoy doing. There's still a lot of things you can enjoy out in the park. The sled hill, for one. When we get a little bit of snow, you can cross-country ski anywhere out here at Seymour. You can cross-country ski out at Oakwood. I mean, there's a lot of outdoor activities you can still enjoy. You can build snowmen, and we'll take you around some pictures here and show you there's several snowmen that have been built around the park with that nice wet snow we had. So you can still get outside and enjoy the outdoors out here in the park. Find something. It's here. Right now we're standing at the back of the new sled hill, and we would like to just let everybody know that you're not supposed to sled off the bottom of the back of the hill. We put the fence up there to keep everybody on the top of the hill for safety reasons. As we pan around here with the camera, you'll see trees, you'll see a fence, you'll see picnic tables, you'll see light poles, you'll see a memorial stone. If a child was to hit any one of those coming off a sled hill, it would not be good. So we're just asking everybody if they would just stay on the main hill, please, and go down the hill. We appreciate that. Thank you. Just saw, that's the machine, the Polaris that we use to keep the sidewalks out here clean, to get the snow off the ice rink once we get ice on it. That'll come in real handy to keep that thing cleaned up really nice for everybody. So just everybody come on out, enjoy the park. Call the office, 628-1720. If you have any questions, somebody will get back to you if they don't answer the phone right away. But if you got a question, feel free to call us and we'll do the best we can for you to get you an answer. Thank you.
It's important to note that this is not the most current ice rink update this week. They're actually putting together some new things and trying to actually get that ice rink up and working. So check that out this weekend or throughout the week. Next up, in our very last story, is J.R. Lafnear right here in studio. Take a look. In a time where people need good news the most, an Oxford native stepped up to the plate to save a business that was going under. Now I'm joined by J.R. Lafnear, who explains how it took off. Can you tell us how you, or even why, you decided to come up with the fundraiser?
Well, it really was an odd situation. One morning I just woke up early and was laying in bed thinking, you know, that what would I do if I didn't have an income for 8 months or 10 months out of the year? And we were right at Christmas time, and I just thought, you know, the Collier family's always been there for the high school teams, fundraisers. They're always there for the community. And so I talked to Mike, and it didn't sound like things were going very well. So we said, let me do a fundraiser, and he was all for it. So we just thought, how can we do a fundraiser in the pandemic that was safe? Well, let's just do a simple drive-through, make a donation. And it just came to me that if everybody gave $1 for every year that they bowled, then the community would raise a lot of money. And you know, I did my own family first. I've been bowling up there for, 50 years, my wife 45 years, my son 25 years. It all added up to $145. So I said, I'm going to challenge everybody to meet me up there on Sunday. And all of a sudden this snowball started rolling down the hill, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. So, and the reason we did it was that the Colliers have always been there for the community, not just the bowling center, the people, right? And there's been a lot of, they're all Oxford graduates. So I just felt like, what would Oxford be without the bowling center? And it's very serious with no income for, almost 10 months out of this year. They wouldn't have survived. So now that they can get back to being open a little bit, and with the fundraiser, we feel like they're in pretty good shape now.
Right. And how did you make that announcement? How did you let the community know? Was this a Facebook post?
That's all it was. I mean, I literally just went to I called one of my parents on my, Barb Massey. She's my go-to mom on my bowling program because I'm the high school bowling coach as well. So I went to her and said, hey, can you help me out? I said, I'm going to get the ball rolling and we'll see where it goes. She was, whatever you need, let's do it. So I put a Facebook post out, and the next thing you know, I'm getting calls from past bowlers from Arizona, Oregon, kids I went to high school with I hadn't heard from since graduation. I mean, literally some of these kids I haven't heard from in 40 years. And it just started to steamroll. And then Todd Bell, who's was on the planning commission and stuff, he wanted to get involved because he's connected to the bowling center, and he says, I want to do more than just money, so how can I help? And he helped get the police and the fire department and some of the local officials, and like I said, it just steamrolled, and the next thing you know, we had checks coming in the mail, we had commitments from the fire department and the police department to be up there with their sirens going, and we had a banner made so that we could, show people and tell people about it. And I was getting anywhere from 10 to 15 email posts or direct messages just from it saying, hey, this is a great idea, how can we help? And the only thing that we could say is broadcast it, share it, and it just kept getting shared and shared and shared and shared. I think within 48 hours, I saw 3,000 hits on that's how fast it spread. And then once it got that big, it was, we started to go, uh-oh.
What do we do?
What did we do? And so we, laid out a traffic plan and just prepared for it. And we did. We kept it as simple as possible. And, we wanted to get some gifts for the next generation of Colliers, and so the bowling parents took care of gifts, and we got Brad Jacobson, who's a Santa Claus, and he came in. And like I said, it just took on legs, and the next thing you know, we had a great Sunday. It was a riot.
And now 3,000 shares and over, that's a lot. Did you ever expect getting something nearly or as close as that?
I mean, I talked to CJ. He come up and did a little article on it for the community Facebook page, and he asked, well, what do you think you can raise? And well, I'd be really happy with 5,000. Thought maybe with a little luck we could get to 10, and we ended up that day in the 3.5 hours or 3 hours we were there, collecting over 30,000 just that day.
Dollars?
$30,000, and as it turned out, we ended up with the pre-payments and the pre-donations with what we collected that day. We were able to present them that check for $44,000, and we've even received checks and stuff afterwards. So we're approaching somewhere around $50,000. All said. And
you told me a little bit earlier that you're still receiving checks in the mail to give to the Kohlers bowling alley. Yeah, the Collier family, I'm still getting checks on occasion. Received one last Wednesday or Thursday. So yeah, we're still getting them. Not as many as we were, but still every little bit helps. And I know that there are certain people that as they come back to bowling, now that they're able to be open again, they're making donations direct as well. So they're bowling in addition to making donations.
Yeah, that's a double whammy. They get the benefit of them bowling, and they make a donation too.
And now let's focus a little bit more on the event at hand. So you said there was a Santa Claus, there was a drive-through event, so all precautions were taken.
Yeah. I was the primary gatherer of the donations, so I was masked up. I stayed off. The people just drove up in the car, reached out with a bag, and they dropped it in, and we said hi. Obviously I knew a lot of them. We said hi and just took a second. We also got great support from the TAP. Mike called and said he wanted to be a part of it, and so he was there, and he passed out almost 20 gallons of soup at no charge to people that were coming through, and that was a big hit as well. And there was one of his friends was a cider guy, and I don't remember the name of his company, but they were passing out hot cider. It just, like I said, it took on a big,
That's amazing.
Just steamrolled. Yeah.
No, was the Colliers, and I'm sorry if I'm saying this.
It's Collier.
Collier.
Yeah.
the family there? Did they see all of this taking place?
They did. It was awesome because Jeff, who's the owner and father, he's the third generation owner of the bowling center, and his two kids, Erica and Mike, they were all there from noon on, and they saw people they hadn't seen and waved and said hi, and an occasional person would pull over and they would have conversation with them, but yeah, they were there, and some of their family members were there and supported the thing all day long. Yeah.
What was the reaction from the family, especially some of the family members coming up to just see the event themselves?
I think everybody was astounded at the amount of community support they received. It was very heartwarming as an individual to see so many people from the community just come through. We even talked to some people that had bowled when the bowling center was downtown in the 50s, and they don't bowl anymore. They just remember Grandpa, and they remember Dad, and then they remember Jeff as a child. They were coming up there and donating. So I think Jeff, Mike, and Erica were just overwhelmed at the support. And I think the nice thing was Jeff's been involved a long time, but Erica and Mike, a little bit younger, I think they now have a better sense of what they mean to the community.
Exactly. And I'm glad you mentioned just the community aspect of it, and how some people dating back to the 50s remember coming to this bowling alley. How long has Collier's been in business? How long have they been in Oxford?
Well, CJ did an outstanding job researching that and putting it in his little article, which by the way was really the boost that really kicked it off. I mean, once that got out there and people started sharing it, it just kept going and going. But they were downtown in the early 50s, 1950 or 53, if memory serves me correct, when Red Collier bought the bowling alley diner right next to his bar. It was actually the bowling alley bar. He had the diner. So minimum 1953, and they had small bowling center downtown, and then in 1960 they moved out to where they are now. So I mean, even if 1960, that's 40 years ago.
Yeah, definitely a generation, landmark here in Oxford.
Absolutely.
So obviously it would have been a huge devastation if something were to happen, or if they wouldn't have been able to survive the pandemic. And that's why you stepped in.
Yeah, well, and again, there's some great things to do here in Oxford. It's a great community. We've got the Legacy Center with tons of things to do. But for that group of kids that are maybe a little bit too old for the Legacy Center and yet too young to hit some of the local eateries and pubs, the bowling center is a great middle thing for them to do. And you can go up there on a Monday night, the bowling center's full of kids bowling, and a lot of high school kids. It's just somewhere for them to go and socialize. What else is there in Oxford to do where they can go and do that and be safe? I mean, it's a safe environment. There's not a bunch of craziness that goes on up there. So it's just a really safe place for them to go.
I love it. And what is one thing that you really took away from this whole experience? If it was one thing that you could say that you really learned from it?
You know what? It really... I've been in Oxford since the early 60s, graduated from Lake Orion, but really kind of grew up in Oxford. Is just how strong the community is, because it really was a community event. There was no one person or one entity that really put this thing over the top. I used the phrase, if everybody does a little, nobody has to do a lot. And that's really what happened here. Everybody did a little. My bowling parents chipped in, the tap chipped in, the Domino's in right next to the bowling center, they fed all the volunteers all day long. They kept bringing pizzas over as fast as they could make them. And so it just was, what a sense of community. And when somebody one of our own needs help, the community stepped up and took care of them. That was really the underlining best thing that came out of this.
So that's one thing that came out of a pretty sticky situation this year, out of the pandemic, is first, just a community sense that if someone in the community needs something, you'll all jump in and help out where it's necessary.
Absolutely. So, anybody out there that needs help with anything, if you reach out, somebody will be there to help you.
If you have a story like this, something heartwarming that happened over the pandemic or even now or that's coming up, please reach out to us here at Oxford Community Television and we'll make sure to cover it as well as try to bring some light, some positivity in a time where we really need it. Thanks for joining us, JR. It's nice to have you. And that was our very last story for this episode of Our Community Access. We hope to join you guys and you join us next time. See you later.